I'm not aware of anything like this in American history. We're talking about the FBI. You're using the FBI to intervene in school board meetings. That's extraordinary.
I want to come back
Senator,
to this
I have to respect
extraordinary letter and memorandum that the Attorney General of the United States issued yesterday. Practically every day brings new reports about this administration weaponizing the federal bureaucracy to go after political opponents. Frankly, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it in American history. I mean, for those of us who missed the McCarthy era, I guess this president is intent on bringing it to us, but with new force and new power and new urgency, unlike anything we've ever seen. Are you aware of any time in American history when an attorney general has directed the FBI to begin to intervene in school board meetings, local school board meetings?
I'm not aware, and I'm not aware that is not going on. Let me be very,
Really,
very
this
clear.
isn't about local school board meetings? That's not the subject of the memorandum? I thought that was in the memorandum.
The memorandum is quite clear. It's one page, and it asks the U.S. attorney community and the FBI special agents in charge to convene state and local law enforcement partners to ensure that there's an open line of communication to address threats, to address violence, and that's the appropriate role of the Department of Justice to make sure that we are addressing criminal conduct and violence.
At local school board meetings, let me just ask you this. Is parents waiting sometimes for hours to speak at a local school board meeting to express concerns about critical race theory or the masking of their students, particularly young children? Is that in and of itself, is that harassment and intimidation? Is waiting to express one's view at a school board meeting harassment and intimidation?
As the Attorney General's memorandum made quite clear, spirited debate is welcome, is a hallmark of this country. It's something we all should engage in. And
no, I don't think so, Ms. Monaco. With all due respect, it didn't make it quite clear. It doesn't define those terms, nor does it define harassment or intimidation. It talks about violence. I think we can agree that violence shouldn't be condoned or looked aside from in any way, swept under the rug at all. But harassment and intimidation, what did those terms mean in the context of a local school board meeting? I mean, this seems to, in the First Amendment context, we talk about the chill to speech. If this isn't a deliberate attempt to chill parents from showing up at school board meetings for their elected school boards, I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not aware of anything like this in American history. We're talking about the FBI. You're using the FBI to intervene in school board meetings. That's extraordinary.
Senator, I have to respectfully disagree. That is not what...
Point me to an instance.
The Attorney General's memorandum made quite clear that violence is not appropriate. Spirited public debate on a whole range of issues is absolutely what this country is all about.
Then why is it being investigated by the FBI?
It is not. When and if any situation turns to violence, then that is the appropriate role of law enforcement to address it.
The memorandum covers more than violence. It talks about intimidation. It talks about harassment. So I'm asking you to draw some lines. We do this all the time in the First Amendment context. This is the sum and substance of First Amendment law, so I expect that you'll be available and willing to do it now. Tell me where the line is with parents expressing their concerns, waiting for hours in these school board meetings. We've all seen the videos. This happened in my state. Parents have waited for hours. Sometimes the school board meetings have been ended before they can speak because the school board doesn't want to hear it. And now parents are told that if they wait and they express their views, that they may be investigated for intimidation?
I don't know who's telling them that, Senator. The job of the Justice Department is to investigate crimes. When a situation turns to violence, when and if a situation turns to violence, it's the job of the Justice Department and local law enforcement to address that. The Attorney General's memorandum simply asked the U.S. attorney community, the FBI, and their counterparts to ensure that state and local law enforcement has an open line of communication to report threats, whether they happen in the context of election officials being threatened, whether they happen in the context of members of Congress being threatened, which the FBI responds to on a regular basis, as is appropriate. The job of the Justice Department is to address criminal conduct.
A heated Senate exchange erupted as Senator Josh Hawley confronted Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco over a controversial Justice Department memo involving threats in school board meetings. Hawley argued that the Biden administration was using federal law enforcement in an unprecedented way, warning that parents across America could be intimidated from speaking out about their children's education. During the hearing, Senator Josh Hawley returned to what he called an extraordinary memorandum issued by the Attorney General of the United States. Hawley questioned whether there had ever been a time in American history when an Attorney General directed the FBI to become involved in local school board issues. He argued that the administration was expanding the power of the federal government against political opponents and warned that this could represent a dangerous new precedent. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco pushed back, explaining that the memo was not about interfering in school board meetings, but about creating communication between federal and local law enforcement to address threats and violence. Senator Hawley then focused on the language used in the memo, specifically the terms harassment and intimidation. He asked whether parents who wait for hours at school board meetings to express concerns about issues like critical race theory or student mask policies could be considered intimidating simply because they are passionate and vocal. Monaco responded that peaceful debate is a fundamental part of American democracy and said that the Justice Department supports public discussion on important issues. But Hawley argued that the memo failed to clearly define where the line is between protected speech and criminal behavior. Hawley argued that involving federal agencies like the FBI could discourage parents from attending school board meetings and exercising their First Amendment rights. He said parents have the right to appear before elected officials, speak about their children's education, and participate in the democratic process.
You know, all I can say is this is truly extraordinary. I think you know it is. It's unprecedented. You can't point to a single instance where anything like this has happened before. And I think parents across this country are going to be stunned to learn, stunned, that if they show up at a local school board meeting, by the way, where they have the right to appear and be heard, where they have the right to say something about their children's education, where they have the right to vote, and you are attempting to intimidate them. You are attempting to silence them. You are attempting to interfere with their rights as parents and, yes, with their rights as voters. This is wrong. This is dangerous. And I cannot believe that an Attorney General of the United States is engaging in this kind of conduct. And frankly, I can't believe that you are sitting here today defending it. I intend to get answers to these questions. You won't answer my questions. I'm going to get answers to these questions. Mr. Chairman, we need to have a hearing on this subject. We need to hear from the Attorney General himself. He needs to come here, take the oath, sit there, and answer questions. We have never seen anything like this before in our country's history. And frankly, I want to say I think it is a dangerous, dangerous precedent.
The senator warned that vague language about intimidation and harassment could create fear among ordinary Americans who simply want their voices heard. Hawley continued pressing Monaco, asking her to explain exactly where the government draws the line between threats and protected speech. He argued that parents should not feel like they could be investigated for expressing concerns at public meetings. Monaco maintained that the Justice Department's role is to investigate criminal conduct, especially violence and genuine threats, not ordinary political disagreement. Closing his questioning, Senator Hawley declared that the situation was unprecedented and said parents across the country would be shocked to learn about the memo. He accused the administration of attempting to silence parents and interfere with their rights as citizens and voters. Hawley demanded that Attorney General Merrick Garland appear before Congress, take an oath, and answer questions directly about the policy. He called the memo a dangerous precedent and vowed to continue seeking answers. The Senate clash highlighted a major debate over the balance between protecting public safety and protecting free speech. Senator Josh Hawley argued that the DOJ memo could intimidate parents from participating in local government, while the Justice Department defended it as a measure focused only on threats and violence. What do you think? Was the memo necessary to protect against threats, or does it risk discouraging parents from speaking out? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more breaking political coverage.